Welcome to London. Welcome to the History Lord. You join us here today in Berkeley Square in Mayfair. Now, Berkeley Square, this rather elongated quadrangle, used to be a square that rivaled both Grosvenor Square and St James's Square as some of the most fashionable places in London. And this is its story.
Berkeley House was demolished in 1733. These exceptionally grand houses were built on three sides of the very long oblong square that were the house's former garden. The southern half became the front garden on what is now Lansdowne House, that was completed by Robert Adam in 1762 for the Earl of Bute, and the northern part of the garden was rowed to create the present-day public square. Sadly, the gardens and the front rooms of Lansdowne House were lost in a road scheme in the 1930s, and the drawing room was reinstalled at the Philadelphia Museum of Art, and the dining room went to the New York's Metropolitan Museum of Art as well. And the house itself became the exclusive Lansdowne Club, which boasted it was the only club to admit women on equal standing with men. How egalitarian of them.
Now, Berkeley Square, the gardens themselves are actually Grade 2 listed, just all these lovely paths and the grass here as well. And all of these plane trees, a majority of these plane trees here, were planted in 1789, and they are wonderful, very mature indeed. In fact, there's one of the plane trees just over there that in 2008 was described as the most expensive tree in London. They worked out on square footage, it was probably worth about £750,000.
It was later in the 1930s that 20 of the original houses on the east side of Berkeley Square were knocked down and replaced by an office building. And it was in 1953 the last private house in Berkeley Square went on the market. It went on for the princely sum of £27,000, and the square is now entirely occupied by high-status offices, clubs and other amenities for the wealthy. There's a fine statue in Berkeley Square that's called the Woman of Samaria, also known as the Water Carrier, and that's by Alexander Munro. It was a gift of Henry Petty Fitzmaurice, the third Marquess of Lansdowne, in 1858.
There have been many notable residents of Berkeley Square, and I've got a list here of some of them. There's been 7 Prime Ministers, including George Canning, Winston Churchill, who lived here as a child, William Pitt the Younger, Archibald Primrose, the 5th Earl of Rosebery, there was William Petty, John Stuart, the 3rd Earl of Bute, and they were the Prime Ministers who lived here. You also had William Astor, who was the first Viscount Astor. He was at one time the richest man in the world. There was also the Clive of India, a very controversial figure. He lived at number 45, just over my right shoulder, and that was in 1761. He actually committed suicide in that house, believe it or not. And one of the other people who used to live in this square was Charles Rolls. Why does that name sound familiar? Well, he, along with Mr. Royce, founded the Rolls-Royce Motor Company, and there's a little dealership over there that does sell the occasional Rolls-Royce as well. Thank you very much for watching. We do hope you enjoy these videos. We certainly enjoy making them for you. If you want to see what we do outside of this, then please go to historylord.co.uk, see about one of my walking tours of London, or have a look for James's channel, and that's called Last Line Films. He also does a very good podcast as well, chatting to wonderful comedians and very interesting people. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you very soon. Take care.